It's a big week in a big year for the tech sector. I have with me Red Hat CEO Jim Whitehurst, who's going to tell us some of the big things that we're going to see this week. So we've got the Goldman Sachs conference, which is going to be up and running. A lot of attention will be focused on that. We've got the Apple CEO talking and various other luminaries, including from your organization. What do you think the big trends are going to be?
I think you'll hear a lot on the enterprise side about big data and cloud computing. You know, those are obviously technologies that are coming into their own, kind of driven by the Web 2.0 companies. And what we're starting to see is real companies are finding out how to get real business value out of those. I think the theme you'll see on the enterprise side of the conference will be about how to use those to actually create value for businesses.
Interesting. So, you know, with big data, cloud, we've heard a lot about these technologies over the last 2 years. Maybe 2 to 3 years out from now, what's cloud and big data going to look like?
Well, the interesting thing about those technologies is they were actually developed not by vendors for enterprises, but rather by Web 2.0 companies to solve their own problems. So to some extent, the first 2 years of cloud and big data have been, you know, we have a hammer and we have a screwdriver. What problems can we solve with them? Right? Which is very, very different than the world where enterprise IT vendors look for problems, built the software and the technologies to solve those problems. Now you have people like Google, Yahoo, Facebook, etc., building technologies to solve their problems. You then have these technologies and it's, well, how can those be used in enterprises? So what we've seen in the first 2 years of cloud and big data is the building of those enabling technologies. And what we're starting to see now, whether it's from people like Red Hat that makes it consumable to enterprises, or IBM that can build the analytics to make big data consumable for enterprises, is we're finally starting to see real solutions that enterprises can use to make better decisions or to better understand customers or bring new and different products to market.
And one of the technologies that I hear a lot about within the context of Red Hat is the hybrid open cloud. I mean, what is that?
Well, the open hybrid cloud is recognizing that all of these great new technologies that were pioneered again by the Googles and the Facebooks to build these things called cloud look great, but it would be the equivalent of, you know, you're in an existing city, new roadways would be great, but in an existing city, you actually have existing traffic pattern roads and buildings. And so the concept of open hybrid cloud that Red Hat's striving hard to is saying, rather than build a whole new data center, pour new concrete, build the new shining thing, you have to recognize that enterprise IT already has existing assets. So how do you take those assets and really cloudify them? How do you make your applications mobile so they can actually run on a cloud? How do you take existing infrastructure and make it so it is usable and consumable in a cloud context?
And this is all within an open source setting, is that correct?
Well, for Red Hat, yes. So you know, our unique market positioning is bringing the power of this open source development model that, again, it's the Google, Amazon, Facebooks driving those technologies and making them consumable for traditional enterprises by packaging them, providing support, long lives, all the types of things that enterprises need. So what it really does, it allows us to bring the power of these wonderful technologies that are being pioneered in Web 2.0 and making them consumable for a bank or an airline or an insurance company.
Okay, that's great. Thank you. So there's plenty to look out for in the cloud sector in 2013. I'm James Rogers from The Street.